If you plan to visit Dollywood and you're worried about long lines and crowds, don't be, because I'm going to share loads of tips and tricks that I've learned over the years to help you have the most stress-free, enjoyable day possible at Dollywood. I've been coming to Dollywood since before it was Dollywood, and over the years I've learned lots of things that I probably should keep a secret, but I want you, as many people as possible, to have the best time at Dollywood. Some of these tips are going to be paid strategies, things that you have to pay for. Some of them are going to be free strategies, things that don't cost any extra money. So we're going to break those up into two different categories. And we're going to start with the paid because they have the biggest impact on having a stress-free day at Dollywood. Before we look at the paid strategies though, I strongly recommend looking at the Dollywood Crowd Calendar that we created. We put so much work and effort into this to help you pick the best day to visit Dollywood this year. So if you haven't seen that yet, click the link below to check out the Dollywood Crowd Calendar. All right, paid strategy number one is to stay at either one of the Dollywood resorts because they come with some fantastic benefits for everybody in your room that has an admission to the park. The biggest benefit is their complimentary TimeSaver Resort Pass. Now, this pass doesn't have access to as many rides as, say, the Plus or the Premium TimeSaver Passes have, but there's a strategy you can use here. You see, the TimeSaver Resort Pass does not include access to Dragonflyer, Mystery Mine, or Fire Chaser Express, but they have a golden hour for resort guests, which is the first hour that the park opens. You can use the TimeSaver Resort Pass at those three rides. So it can be a fantastic way to maximize the value of the complimentary Resort TimeSaver Pass. If you feel like you need unlimited rides at some of the more popular rides, you can upgrade to either the Plus or the Premium. And in 2025, to upgrade to the Plus is about $25. To upgrade to the Premium is about $45 per person. Now keep in mind, everybody in your room that stays with you at the Dollywood Resorts gets one of these TimeSaver Passes if they have the admission to the Dollywood Park. So fantastic way to skip the line and enjoy a stress-free day at Dollywood. Another great perk of staying at the Dollywood Resorts is the complimentary preferred parking privileges that you get. Now, Dollywood has this kind of side parking lot that you may or may not know about that is smaller, and it also has its own entrance. To park here, normally it costs about $50, but if you're staying at a Dollywood Resort, it's completely free. And this little parking lot gives you quick access. It's much shorter walk to this entrance than it is from the regular parking lot. So great way to get to the gates faster, as well as get out of the park faster when it's time to leave. So that's a great option. Also, if you don't want to drive your car from the resort to the Dollywood parking lot, you can take the complimentary shuttle that they offer at the resorts. Now, the shuttle will take you from the resort all the way to that special side entrance that I was just talking about, free of charge. And you can take it, to Dollywood. You can take it from Dollywood back to the resort. It's a great way. So either way, you're not going to pay anything to get from the resort to the entrance of Dollywood. So that's another great perk of staying at the resorts. So this benefit, the $50 complimentary preferred parking plus the TimeSaver Resort Pass that you get. Now, each one of those resort passes are worth around, I'd say, $60. So if you have a family of four, 60 times 4 is $240, plus the $50 preferred parking privileges, that's $290. You can see how that alone right there, $290 worth of value, makes staying at a Dreammore or Heart Song resort much more enticing because it offers lots of privileges to help you have a stress-free day at Dollywood. Another nice thing about staying at a Dollywood resort that doesn't sound like a big deal, but it can be if you buy lots of things, and that is you can have your packages that you purchase at Dollywood sent to your room at your resort free of charge if the purchase is $25 or more. So this is a great way if you like to buy souvenirs. You don't have to carry them around with you at Dollywood. Don't have to be stressed out about, where do I set it? Where do I put it? Do I take it on the ride with me? Do I set it in the locker? Do I have somebody hold it for me? You don't have to worry about any of that. Just buy it, have them send it to your room. Don't have to think about it or worry about it the rest of the day at Dollywood. Easy way to have a much more stress-free day at Dollywood. So let's say you're not staying at a Dollywood resort, but you still want that TimeSaver Pass. You can purchase them individually. And they start at $60 a person for the regular TimeSaver Pass, which includes rides on a handful of their attractions, as well as the ability to get show reservations to get the best seating possible. If you upgrade to the TimeSaver Plus, it includes unlimited rides on Mystery Mine, as well as one entry on Fire Chaser Express, Dragon Flyer, and Lightning Rod. Now, the TimeSaver Premium, starting at $100 a person, includes unlimited rides on pretty much everything. So it is a great way to skip the long lines on the most popular attractions at the park and have the most stress-free day possible at Dollywood. TimeSaver is definitely the way to go. It does get pricey, but it can be worth it on those super, super busy days. Again, consult our Dollywood Crowd Calendar to try to avoid the busy days. That way you can save money on the TimeSaver Passes. This next tip is one that a lot of people don't consider, and that is the price of a TimeSaver Pass versus a 2-day ticket at Dollywood. A 2-day ticket only costs about $30 more than a 1-day ticket. So if you're going to be in town plenty of days that you can visit Dollywood on 2 of those days, it doesn't have to be 2 consecutive days. It has to just be within a 5-day period. So you could go on a Monday and then go back on a Thursday or Friday. But it can save you money and allow you to do even more than you originally could with just a 1-day ticket and a TimeSaver Pass. So this is a great option to consider if you have time to spend in Pigeon Forge, is to get the 2-day ticket at Dollywood. That way you can do more for 2 days in a row. Maybe one day you do the shows, maybe another day you do the attractions, and you get the best of both worlds that way and save some money. So something to consider that you may not have thought about before. All right, let's chat about this parking situation real quick at Dollywood and give you some tips to avoid some of the headaches that some people have. So Dollywood, is right in here, and then the parking, the general parking it goes way back through the skinny little parking lot, hooks around into this one, and if all of that is full, they'll stick you in the Splash Country parking lot, which is right here. Now there are trams that will take you, from these parts of the parking lot all the way up to the front, the tram drop off, the hub right here. But if on a busy day, the tram may be full and you have to wait for the next tram, so it can cause you to wait even longer. A good way to avoid all of that is to pay the extra to park in this preferred parking right here. So what that does is allows you to access this side entrance, which is much less crowded, much easier to get in and out of. I'll drop a thing in here to show you kind of what that looks like. So here's the preferred parking up this hill right here. And then the side entrance is right here. It has about 2 gates that you can walk through, so just keep that in mind. It's super easy to get in, super easy to get out, and you can walk up this little hill at the end of the day. Maybe you're heave-hoving and pushing a wagon or strollers or whatever, but just keep that in mind. At the end of the day, you're going to be walking up this hill into this preferred parking, but it gives you easy access to get in and out of Dollywood so much faster. And it is, if you've got that extra money, it is worth the $50 to pay for that. Now, the big tip that I have for you is to pre-purchase that preferred parking ticket before your day of arrival, because it is small and it does sell out. You can go on Dollywood.com and pre-purchase that before you arrive, which I highly recommend doing. That way you don't have to worry about if they're going to be sold out or not when you get there. So another great paid strategy to save some time, save some stresses, and park in the preferred parking lot. All right, enough of the paid strategies. Let's dive into the free tips that don't cost any extra money. And to do that, we're going to dive back into the parking lot real quick, because if you don't purchase the preferred parking and you just want the general parking through here, you have the option to either ride the tram to the front entrance or you can walk it. I see a lot of people, if they're parked, especially in this first section, it's a busy day and there's a long line for the tram and you don't want to fight for that last row available on the tram. You just take the stress-free walk through the parking lot just to get to the front right here. It's a nice way to just get your day started at Dollywood and not have to worry about anything getting on the tram, fighting the lines and the crowds to get a seat on the tram. So it's a good way, a good tip that a lot of people decide to do, especially locals. You'll see locals a lot of times just walking because they don't want to deal with the issues of riding on the tram. So a great option there. All right, the next free strategy is one that does require some money, but it doesn't cost you any extra. Actually, can save some money if you follow this tip. And that is to buy your tickets in advance. You see, if you wait until the day that you arrive to Dollywood to buy your tickets, that ticket line can get very long. So buy your tickets in advance, skip that line altogether, go straight to the turnstiles, scan your ticket, and you can get right in. Now, if you want a way to save some money on fees, hit the link below, because I've got a way for you to get tickets cheaper, as well as get a cancellation guarantee. So if you have to cancel for any reason up to 2 days before your visit, you can get your money back. So this is a great way to save some money, as well as get a peace of mind of a cancellation guarantee. So remember, buy those tickets in advance, hit the link below to get them for the best deal and the cancellation guarantee. All right, the next tip is all about timing, and specifically getting to the park early. We're talking like an hour before the posted opening time at least, because that will allow you to get a good parking spot, get out of your car, walk or take the tram up to the entrance, where at 30 minutes before the posted opening time, they will actually open Dollywood for you to go in and get to the part of the park that you want to be in for the morning. Now, they're going to have a rope and some people at certain parts of those sections holding people back until the official open time of the park. So if it's, if the official open time is 10, that rope is going to be there until 10 o'clock, at which time they'll let it go and you can proceed to the ride that you want to get in. So that is a great way to make sure that you can hit the ride that you want more than any others early in the day. So make sure you understand the timing. They open the park early, get a good parking spot. Just do it. Just trust me. That's the best way to maximize your day at Dollywood. So what happens if you don't get there early enough? Well, here's what happens. A lot of people, when the park opens, if they want to ride rides, they'll head left and go up through Timber Canyon, Wildwood Grove, and hit all of those coasters and fun rides up that way. So in the morning hours, that side of the park tends to be super crowded with people and long waits. Whereas the right side of the park typically doesn't have as heavy of a crowd in the morning. Now, there are people at Lightning Rod, but the other rides and parts of the park aren't near as busy as Timber Canyon, Wildwood Grove, and up through that way. So if you get there a little bit late, a lot of times we like to go right and head and check out the line at Lightning Rod, hit those rides, those shops, those snacks, those kinds of things early in the morning, and let those crowds dissipate up through the other sections of the park. And then maybe after lunch, we'll start working our way back to Timber Canyon, Wildwood Grove, when those crowds have kind of spread out and lightened up a bit. So make sure you understand the timing. If you get there a little late, check the Dollywood app, look at the ride wait times, and see how heavy it is up towards Big Bear Mountain, Mystery Mine, Thunderhead, all of those types of rides. And then you can make a decision whether you want to go up that way and take a chance, or take a right and have a little bit more of a stress-free morning, at least while those crowds kind of spread out. Okay, the next tip is one that a lot of people don't know about, and that is you can set alerts for wait times on rides in the Dollywood app. So if you got a certain ride that you want to ride and it's got a 60-minute wait, 90-minute wait, whatever, you can open up the app, set an alert on the wait time, so that it'll notify you when it does drop, and you'll be one of the first ones to know that the lines are much shorter. That way you can get there and hopefully beat the rest of the crowd that sees it on the screens or just happens to see it in the Dollywood app. So set those alerts in the app and get ahead of everybody else. So let's say the crowds are crazy, the lines are long everywhere, and you just need a minute. One of my favorite things to do is to just drop into a show or ride the train. These are two great options at Dollywood to just take a break from the crowds and just enjoy about 30 minutes of peace and just quiet and not being in line for anything, not worrying about the crowds, not stressing out about anything, just having a moment, just taking a breath. And sometimes this is great for the kids and the family too, to just have a minute and not be in lines doing, the things that the kids like to do while they're waiting in lines to ride rides in a hot day in the middle of the summer in a 60-minute wait in line. It's much easier to just get on the train or check out a show and just take a break. All right, this next tip can save you a lot of frustration, especially if you're hangry, and that is when to eat. And a lot of the crowds like to eat around 12 and around 6. It's like people are just programmed to eat around those times, and that's when they seek out the food, and that's when the lines get crazy long. And it is not a good time to be in line if you are hangry. So what we like to do is eat lunch somewhere around 11, or after I'd say 1:30 for lunch. Dinner, the same thing. Dinner, early dinner around 5, or wait until that 7:30 if it's park still open and food's still open at that point. Just got to make sure it is in the day that you visit. But trying to eat outside of the busy hours can save you so many headaches and frustrations, especially if the kids are hungry and you're waiting in line at places like Aunt Granny's, where it's not a put your name in and wait for them to call you. It's literally wait in line and wait for your turn to get a table. So try to avoid the busy times of 12 and 6. And then another big one is the cinnamon bread. If you go to the grist mill, there's going to be a line. And the later in the day that it gets, the longer that line gets, because a lot of people don't like to carry that cinnamon bread around with them throughout the day at the park. So they'll wait until right before they leave to get in that line and get their cinnamon bread. So it gets longer as the day goes. So what we like to do is get the cinnamon bread early in the day. That way we don't have to fight that line later in the day, because it does get crazy long. Now, you can get cinnamon bread at the bakery at the front of the park. A lot of people say that it doesn't taste the same. I tend to agree. So if you want the best fresh stuff, it's going to be at the grist mill. It's worth the wait. If you've never had it, definitely check it out. It's good. If you're an icing person, I'm an icing person. I like to get the icing with it. So check out the grist mill, get the cinnamon bread early in the day, avoid the lines. All right, the next tip is all about knowing when to leave. You may have been in lines at the park all day. The last thing you want to do is be in another line when you're trying to get out of the park. Now, if it is a very crowded day, if you wait all the way up until the park closes, there's going to be a big line either at the trolley line to ride back to the Patriot Park, or a long line to get on a tram to go to your car, or when you get to your car, a long line of cars trying to get out of the parking lot. So what we like to do is, if we've done everything we want to do, is skip out about 30 minutes before the park closes. That way, there might still be a line at the trolley and the tram and etc., but it's not going to be near as long as if you wait all the way up until the park closes. So keep that in mind as you're going through your day. Try to knock out the things you want to do before the park closes. That way you can leave a little bit earlier than actual close and skip a lot of those heavier lines as people are trying to leave. So there you have loads of tips and strategies to help you have the best day possible at Dollywood, even if it's crowded. But if you want to avoid crowds altogether, be sure to check out our crowd calendar that we put together, because it helps you find the best days of the year to visit when the crowds are lightest. Now, if you're enjoying these tips, please hit the like or subscribe button, because it helps me know that you want to see more of this type of content to help you have the best visit possible to the Smoky Mountains.